James Tusher with Ag Tire Talk here. I'm with Ryan Anderson with New Holland Construction. Thanks for being with me today.
You're welcome.
We're at the CONEXPO show, and we've got an unbelievably good story to tell you about reducing inputs for large ag producers. Correct me if I'm wrong, one of the most common pieces of equipment on a large ag farm is a skid steer. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. I mean, the skid steer is one of those pieces on the farm that's the first to get started up in the morning and the last one to get put away on just about virtually every farm out there.
It's even more popular in compact track loader, is that correct?
For now, yes. We are starting to see a pretty steady trend toward a compact track loader, moving away from a skid. A lot of our producers, dairy guys, beef cow, calf guys, are seeing the advantages of the traction and the versatility of it. And then we're even starting to see some of that movement toward larger CTLs. Guys are starting to clear out pasture land and stuff. So.
Yeah. This is a big story to me because I was really surprised to see how much you can reduce inputs with a compact wheel loader relative to even a skid steer in many applications.
Yeah, definitely. So talking about the ergonomics of a skid steer is an entirely different animal versus a compact wheel loader. Getting in and out of the cab is an entirely different situation, right? Climbing over a bucket, getting into the cab, and so on and so forth. Whereas something like a compact wheel loader, the ergonomics, the overall feel and operational, status of the machine is the same as, say, a 100 horsepower tractor, the same thing that they're using on their hay side of their business or something like that.
Hey man, and one of the things that struck me is really the tire wear. When it comes to skid steers, because you skid them, a lot of people are saying they're getting double the tire wear out of a compact wheel loader just because it's articulated instead of skidding. Does that resonate? Does that sync with what you're hearing as well?
Oh, definitely. So like you said, skidding a skidder, counter steering and so on and so forth, adds a lot of wear and tear to the tires. That's part of the reason why it's so epic, right? They're excellent. It can technically zero turn. But for a large enough operation or application, a compact wheel loader is a no-brainer. Where, like you said, the articulating bodies and the tread life of the actual tire compound itself will indeed last longer due to that natural kind of less friction on the actual rubber itself.
Hey man, I heard a funny quote. One of the guys was saying the reason that the compact wheel loaders haven't taken off quite as much lately is because all the skid steer people don't really know exactly what they are all about yet. So it's kind of a funny little humorous tidbit we heard at the show. Okay, so let's talk about not only the tire wear, obviously one of the biggest cost inputs. Let's talk about fuel. So if you've got similar, weight that you have to carry and what have you in the shovel, what's the difference in skid steer versus this compact wheel loader?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be talking about weight differences right away, right? So you're talking anywhere, depending on the size of the frame machine, 6,000 pounds to roughly 8,000, 9,000
pounds. There you
go. So it's still a little bit more. It's a little bit more machine, of course.
Yes.
But you also get, more increased efficiency through the transmission, 2-speed transmissions, and so on and so forth. So you get a little bit more, fuel economy from the engine because you have a more efficient transmission on it.
Yeah, and let's just talk about the data for a moment. One of the very few segments that has been really growing exponentially is this compact wheel loader. And correct me if I'm wrong, really it's because of two reasons. One is it's reduced fuel, and then it's reduced costs of really maintenance when it comes to specifically on that tire piece. Are those the two biggest ones?
Yes, definitely. So as you can see, just the W80 here from New Holland as an example, everything is very accessible as far as serviceability. So, getting to all your air filters and so on and so forth and tires and things of that nature, it becomes very easy to access. But then when you're starting to talk about time, so productivity becomes that dollar amount that sometimes people forget to talk about. Where a skid steer, very nimble, very agile, very maneuverable, but it lacks on ground speed. You get roughly, call it 10 to 11 miles per hour. Something like this, you're going to get closer to 22, 23 miles.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that big of a difference.
So the productivity and the time factor, at cycle times alone, just in the boom arm lift geometry, night and day difference. And as far as capacity with a larger bucket, much greater lifting force, productivity is the name here.
Well, I'm going to try to do summer. You see if I got it. So we're talking about not only reduced fuel, we're talking about reduced input costs because of tires and other things.
Correct.
But we're also talking about productivity. In fact, the ground speed is about double on that compact wheel loader.
Definitely. And the versatility on top of it. It's not as if this is just a bucket, lift and carry machine either. So one thing to remember is you can indeed get out front attachments like grapples, brooms, snow ops. So it doesn't have the same nimbleness and tight, compact working environment capabilities like a skid steer or a CTL, but the compact wheel loader, as far as versatility, is right there with the skid steer.
Great point. I almost forgot the attachment piece that's just got everything that a skid steer does. Very good. Thanks for being with us today, and that's a wrap.
My pleasure. Thanks, James.